holiday week. Did I already go through all those? I did. Just BFLY is still interesting. I really liked it back here at the beginning of November. And it really started at the end of October. Came back really nicely. I'm gonna keep this on my radar. Grail got some really sick strength. That was a breakout. And then man, these like um um light and COHR are so strong. This is also some impressive, um, very impressive relative strengths for these like optical stocks, these like photonics. It's kind of a nasty bar on Thursday, but so is everything. Hmm. What else is in this group? CIEN. Yep. VIAV, I think is in here too. What do you think, Brecco?
What's up?
He's still long NVO from 150.
Short.
That boy.
Yeah, pre-market's like really strong actually. As far as like almost everything's green this morning.
Yeah, that's
A lot of upgrades this morning too. A lot of upgrades.
really
And just like random names, but there's a lot of them.
okay. I saw JP Morgan went a little nuts with some upgrades this morning. That's what I saw for the most part.
Yeah. Carvana got upgraded. INSP is gapping up 15%. They got an upgrade.
Oh, oh yeah, okay.
MP, Barrick Mining, MU, Mara. Who's
What's
upgrading
that?
Mara these days, dude?
Man.
Forget this thing even exists.
I remember back when at the beginning when Irene and stuff started running and asking about Mara. Man, I know every now and then I'll mention this just out of the past, but you gotta really hate yourself to trade this.
Yeah. Not even that like it's a laggard, but like it just sucks to trade.
This sucks. That one good trade in at the end of 2023 was sick. I think
That
that's
was
all.
crazy. That was really fun. I remember that.
That was a good time. S sounds, what's going on with NVO? NVO had Alzheimer's drug
They said phase
data.
3 trials of theirs did not show any progress for Alzheimer's disease.
Yeah, that sucks. That sucks.
After
BIIB.
2 years of trials.
Yeah, Biogen up a little bit with that as well. Biogen's like the OG Alzheimer
Yeah,
drug.
they announced research collaboration to discover and develop oral macrocyclic peptides this morning.
Totally.
Um,
How come this move doesn't get talked about? You don't see this one in model books at all. This BIB move from 2011 to 2014
yeah. Oscar, CNC, MOH, big gappers this morning.
on the ACA subsidies. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
man, why couldn't that have come out when this was looking like sick? Yeah, Oscar up 20%. Yeah, it's there. Yeah, obviously, Google. Man, I mean, Google's killing it. Do you know this actually kind of reminds me of? Hold on, let me actually look at this. Does this
Oh, 100%. Like the
like,
gap up through all-time highs when Nvidia came out of the bear market.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it looks just like Nvidia like right there. Yeah. Like
yeah.
mm-hmm. 100%. Looks like Google's like right there. Yeah.
Whoa.
I thought
Damn.
that as soon as you said that. Yeah. WRD and Pony are up this morning a little bit.
Oh God.
Pony got a partnered with Sunlight Mobility. WRD's up 10% on earnings, I think. Yeah, earnings.
Okay. But yeah, well, one thing I think we need to talk about. I probably need to do a little bit more educating on myself. But these um light and COHI. I mean, this light is some very impressive relative strength over the past, man, whatever, call it 2, 3 weeks. Um, I mean, this is acting like how a leader would act in early stages during a market correction. Um, COHR, is probably acting like n number two of the group. I actually need to look up what some other ones are. Those are the only two off the top of my head. Either whatever. Either way, market's acting like that's a leader to pay attention to. Um, so therefore we will. Baba is up about 4.5%.
Man, I probably looked
Um,
at that chart 10 times on 10 different time frames this morning.
dude, this looks nice.
Yeah, I know it's
I'm probably gonna try to find my way in. The problem is K-Web looks like kind of shitty. Like this looks like it needs some time. Probably pop up to here,
just retested like a big weekly breakout. Maybe not like perfectly level, but
like right around this area.
I zoomed out more on the bigger part of the base and it's more so like 35, but yeah. So maybe
Gotcha.
it could undercut the recent top of the recent basing structure. I don't know.
I see what you
It's a big
mean.
weekly spot though. And the 200-day moving average.
I see what you mean. Yeah, I think probably something like this is what I would look for. Um, Alrighty. Interesting. So Qs are still pushing a little bit. We're up 1% now on the Qs. We're right around Friday's high right now. And this is Thursday lower high here spot, which is about 596 50 here. If you zoom out, this is a big area on the Qs here. It was kind of the first, you can, like I said, just highlight this level. You can see what I mean by it's a big level. There's been a lot of interaction around the spot. Support, support, support. And now we're underneath that, tapping it from below. Gonna be really interesting how we trade this week. It is a holiday week, of course. We got markets closed on Thursday. Um, and then basically closed on Friday. We've got a half day
That half
on
day is so stupid.
I know. Half day on Friday after Thanksgiving. Um so we'll see how the market takes that. Probably going to be a little bit lighter volume for the week, I would imagine. And yeah. So let's take a look though at the daily here because um we've seen a number of these, upside reversals, recently on Friday. Basically, the past 3 Fridays have seen kind of a hold day, um, right? Going back to the last 3 weeks. and a couple of them have been followed by Monday gap ups. It's basically, we started the week with, a strong Friday, and then, kind of a quietish Monday. Um, where the previous Monday was a 2% gap up that didn't really move that much. Last week Monday was just an inside day, for example, and then again we've got kind of this strong Monday following that upside reversal. So um, there's still a lot of work to do, but like I said, you heard the conversation earlier, between Brock and I, where we're really starting to, I'm really starting to pay attention to some of those relative strength names. To that, I mean, obviously, like Google, for example, stands out. Sort of a 4.5% here, all-time highs. This is what it's acted like for the past 3 weeks to a month. Um, and I really like these photonic stocks, Light and COHR. I like the way that they've behaved throughout this market correction, and I think they're potentially displaying some leadership signs early on. So essentially just waiting for kind of market wide remounts of the short-term moving averages, whether it be the 90 MA or the 20 MA. Um, to see if we get some sort of follow through. The interesting thing about that though is, and this is why, in my opinion, and I've kind of been harping on this for the past few weeks or so, is that you essentially need to have a strategy that you're dedicated towards and work solely on implementing just that as the best you can versus being a Swiss Army knife. Okay. Because if and when, let's say we get a follow through day, let's say we pop up and, hold today, Tuesday or Wednesday, we get, maybe like a pullback or consolidation and higher low. And then we get then we get like a follow through day, right? On the QQQ, let's just say, Wednesday or, even Friday, if this were a normal trading week, where, we kind of pop through some of the MAs. That could be a spot where sellers come in and put in a lower high and reject this lower. Maybe we sweep over like 613 and reject this lower. But if that follow through day ends up sustaining and you push through, that's like the spot to get long and starting to put on start to really pay attention to those relative strength names, identifying some setups that are kind of looking really attractive as the market's kind of in that in between spot where, because it's the short spot and it's like the exposure spot, and one of them generally ends up winning. Um, because it's going to be like right up around the 50 SMA, right around the 20 May, right around, some of this resistance up here. So, um, and there's going to be people when that occurs, there's going to be people taking, short size setups. There's going to be people saying, talking about the follow through day and looking for exposure. And, half of those follow through days fail, right? That's just the kind of nature of the game. But when they work, you can start kind of a new uptrend type um, setup type move in the market. Um, and if you're trying to determine which one that is, are we going to reject here? Or are we going to go through rather than implementing what you want to accomplish? Then you're going to be in trouble. Anyways, that's just a little intangible rant. We'll get more into that later. Bronco, you've been at the desk, kind of watching pre-market. What do you got for us this morning?
Not much. Like we mentioned earlier, stuff is pretty strong in the pre-market. We'll see how that looks by close. Our mom made a good point about how some holiday weeks, short weeks can get pretty fun. If you have like a strong momentum market. I mean, sure, everyone remembers BMNR on July 3rd. That was like kind of the crazy one this year. But, haven't really seen any momentum really anywhere. I mean, the pre-market small cap space has been like dead for a while now. So not sure if that'll be the case this week. We'll see. We're seeing some runners in the pre-market, but I wrote up in my Substack that, I don't really plan to do much to start the week. Market's gapping up 1% into Friday's highs mostly on most things this morning. Probably just gonna take some notes, keep track of some stuff. I'm leaving Wednesday morning, gonna start getting ready, Tuesday later in the day. So I'm really going to be here for 2 days this week. Don't really want to worry about any trades I got on while I'm gone. So probably just gonna be watching for the most part, just spectating, keeping notes. I got some notes from stuff that's been going on this morning, but yeah, we'll see. I can't say I have much to say this morning. I'm seeing that they did like an MSCI index review in China after the close last night, which could trigger some like passive inflows from like index tracking funds and tailwinds for some like large cap tech names in China. So that could be why Bob is super strong and stuff. I haven't looked at the other names this morning though. Oh yeah.
They also had a headline that their chatbot thing has got like 10 million subscribers or something.
Oh really? Okay.
Hmm. One time, what are you thinking on these rare earths? So MP got an upgrade, you said, Braco?
Yeah.
Okay. Up by BMO. I'm more interested in that. I will say I'm looking at LAR still. Only if this really tightens up right here, and we can get some sort of go signal essentially at the 20 May on some tightness. ALB, still acting extremely well. Looks very attractive. SQM had a little upgrade today. Another group in the market that's really strong. Healthcare, obviously, has been, performing really well. Amgen, is getting tight here. There might actually be some setups here, but again, um, I'd much rather be involved in a bit faster of a name rather than, you know, encouraging, participation and getting something like that. That is a nice move. I shouldn't be as much of a hater as I am. I'm not. But in that sense, like I'd rather look for something like GRAL, right? That can really move. For example, from like this Tuesday low support, like that's more my speed, something that can move, 25, 30%, in a short period. Um, Let me pull this up. But yeah, TER, I've still got my eyes on this. This again, there's another one that needs some work. I do like this, undercut, but we're sitting right at the earnings day low. This very well could, be like, God, what is that? Like PEGA, for example, right? That kind of uh popped up into, this spot right here and just faded lower. It could be a case there. I like it a little bit better than that. But like I said, work needs to be done. Either, you take a stab on this undercut of Thursday's low and, kind of search for that spot there, or you wait for this to pop, put in a higher low, and then get involved in it. I didn't write about ATI or CRS in Sunday scans, but these are two stocks that are, pretty high on my radar as well. And I was kind of saving that for, you know, to see kind of how we start trading this week because, again, I don't think they're super, super ready. And then, man, like this light is going to be probably like the top thing that I watch for a bit here. Again, this like Thursday candles, obviously really nasty. I might just delete that from my screen here to make it look more attractive. But man, if we can just tighten up just a little bit more, um, I'll gladly end up taking a stab at that, and then I'll track COHR as well. A couple of the other earnings gap ups recently that are still within like a little bit of a base, right, with some overhead supply and stuff. FSLY kind of in that camp right here where you can see this, big earnings move. This was 36% and then, starting to consolidate. Is why I kind of track some of those earnings gappers. DOCN, right? It's kind of still in that camp. I actually like this one like better than FSLY, just given kind of where it's at in this base, because if it does make a big move, it would be running into, nothing, right? It'd be breaking out of, stage one base into stage two versus, something like this would not be in anywhere near stage two. APPN, also kind of in that category, right? Really big move off of surprise earnings, made about 50% move, flagging out here, looking for higher low, watching that, interested in it. This is kind of a different, class of stock. Whereas in right, like a Google or LIT, things like that are, clearly um more of a leader, where this is like the kind of the mid-tier, less institutionally supported name. TMDX, with some of these healthcare and medical device things, medical devices, sorry, looks really attractive. I mean, this is beautiful base structure, higher low, higher low, higher low. Now looking to get kind of tight here. The past 3 days have been a little bit wider. Price action plus 14%, minus 7%, plus 6%. That is kind of the nature of this stock, by the way. Where it is thinner and does have quite a bit of range. If we get some tightness here, this is going to be a top watch, if not the top watch, something like this to occur. Kind of how I got those arrow lines built out. So I think that's important. And then I included Hood in the Substack Sunday scans right up. Which, by the way, guys, if you're on here and you don't check that out, dishonor on you, dishonor on your family. Um, but this pulled back into 100. Obviously, like, this doesn't look magnificent on the daily, and this very well could be like topping out. But this is a really good, like, independent market leader. And by that, I mean it's not tied to like a major like macro thematic, like AI infrastructure or anything like that, right? This is just a company that is executing really well in their product, and gaining market share, right? Right. This is Robinhood. And so that's why I kind of wanted to list that on there as a good barometer for appetite in the market, because it won't be lumped in. It'll be just pure participation based, essentially, and willingness of big buyers to support the stock and maintain positions in it. Whereas in something like VRT, what I don't know, I'm just pulling this up, right? If there's data center AI infrastructure stuff, this is gonna get going, but it might. You get what the point I'm trying to make with that, Bracco?
Yeah,
Okay,
100%.
and
Yeah.
I think that's fairly reasonable for that. So yeah, I am watching this, like I said, as kind of a little gauge for some stuff. Um, Again, short week. Um, yeah, we'll see how this goes. Anybody got any questions, comments, concerns? Carvana is probably like the only thing that I've got on my short side list. Over under 10 a.m. before Manrav buys some Baba shares or Baidu or something.
Yeah. By time.
Look at the monthly.